Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of The X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. This is my 13th week in a row doing this X Factor, and I love it because I have the opportunity to bring you news from around the world in crypto and blockchain globally, everywhere. Um, and this week was kind of different. Before I get into it, though, I want to talk about something. There's an amazing conference coming up in a couple weeks in Indonesia called Block Bali. The Crypto Hipster podcast is a digital sponsor to that event, and I would love to go, but I can't go. Not allowed to go to Bali by myself, and that's Thanksgiving week, and we're headed to family. So, um, but if you were there, it's going to be an amazing conference and an amazing beaches, and you should have an amazing time. And I'm going to preface this episode saying there you might hear some background noise, some jackhammering, some other stuff. Behind the scenes here, I have some major construction going on in my house, um, and we're having the back porch moved a little bit, and they decided to do some other stuff. So that other stuff is going to take up some noise, but hopefully you can understand what I'm saying, and we will go from there. So welcome. It's November 11. This has been a wild week in crypto and blockchain, and it all centers around this crypto company called FTX. But before we get into FTX, I want to really talk about some of the other news that's going on in the world right now, and we're going to do that today. So I got to find my documents, and where are they? Microsoft Word. You paste in the Microsoft Word, and you never see it again. So here we go. The first thing is before we talk about FTX, is we're going to talk about central banks. So central banks have dropped out of the digital currency race. There are at least 4 countries that have either scrapped or halted CBDC plans so far, and each state central bank has its own reasoning. First, Denmark. Denmark is one of the top European countries in terms of digital payments, as its population relies on cash far less than other European nations. The country, after a year of research, the Danish central bank dismissed the idea of launching a CBDC, ruling that it would do little to improve the country's financial infrastructure. So why not Bitcoin? Why not? Bitcoin's great. The regulator argued that Denmark already had a secure and effective payment system in place which provided instant payment options. I have one of mine too. It's called Bitcoin. Japan. Japan is the third wealthiest economy after the US and China, and also the third largest pension market in the world. The Japanese Central Bank released its initial report on CBDC Development Center in October 2020 and then started testing in early 2021. And they have completed the testing, it looks like. And they had advised against the using the digital yen, the digital yen. Japanese is yen, as part of the country's monetary policy, citing risks to financial stability. So, why not Bitcoin? Japan, welcome Bitcoin. You should think about that. Or Litecoin. Litecoin's great for payments. Bitcoin's a store of value, and Litecoin is amazing for payments. Ecuador. Ecuador's central bank, Banco Central de Ecuador, officially announced its own electronical, that's a made up word, electronic currency known as Dinero Electronico back in 2014. And the key drivers were increasing financial inclusion and reducing the need for the central bank to hold and distribute large amounts of that fiat currency. So they have decided that the question really, if a CBDC is necessary, or if they continue to, because it's based on the U.S. dollar and kind of not liking the dollar right now. So yeah, so Ecuador, I'd like to introduce you to Bitcoin and Litecoin. Finland. For those who think that the Bahamas and China were the first countries in the world to roll out a CBDC, the Bank of Finland has some news for you. In 2020, the Central Bank of Finland issued a report titled Lessons Learned from the World's First CBDC, providing a description of its Avant smart card system, which it created back in the 1990s. The Bank of Finland argued that Avant is not only the project that can be considered the world's first CBDC, but also was the only one that went into production. And following years of research, the Bank of Finland said, you know, it's, yeah, we're not going to go with the CBDC. Our bank card system works just fine, and we don't need you. But Finland, I have a concept. It's called Bitcoin. Finland, welcome to Bitcoin. That's an amazing payment platform. And so is Litecoin. Litecoin's great for payments. Bitcoin's great for other things like store value. And Litecoin is great for payments. So Bitcoin, Litecoin, cryptocurrencies. Hey guys, you're on the right track, not offering a CBDC that will, really watch every single movement of every single person at every single time. Yeah, that's called Big Brother watching over your back, and we don't really need that in this world. So, kudos to you. Now, let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Wow. All I gotta say is wow. Is there are so many rumors going on right now, and flying around on FTX, and from reports that he was arrested at the Bahamas airport, to rumors that employees of the exchange are trying to sell the company's assets, to rumors that it was just a big giant 30-year-old orgy in the Bahamas and spending everybody's and wasting everybody's money. I've heard it. You've heard it. They're going to hear a lot of things. Um, you know, so Polly Saul, the founder of the non-fungible token project, not Larva Labs, was the first to spur rumors of SBF's arrest, according to Cointelegraph. The FT founder retweeted a post of Fight Trader 24, which is another name on Twitter. A private jet has seemed to be grounded for 40 minutes while on the way from Miami to Nassau. And so there were also rumors that Alex Mashinsky back in June was arrested, and they were not true. So before you know what the truth is, got to wait for the truth to come out. There are a lot of people who are saying truths that may not be truths. I will say this. I will say one thing. You had a lot of people involved in making poor decisions, and everybody's focus is on Sam Bankman-Fried, but there are a lot of investors who invested in this guy, where him and his team didn't really have a track record of managing money. And there are people who invested, a lot of people who don't have a track record of investing and managing money. And maybe, just maybe, that should be a consideration. When you're putting your money out there for other people to manage, self-custody is one of the beautiful things about Bitcoin, about crypto. You get to self-custody your assets, and you not rely on somebody else's behavior. So it's going to be an area of contention and conversation going forward. And let me know your thoughts. I have a thought, and it's this. There's a article called "Hang in There: Crypto Twitter Encourages Solana Community Amid the FTX Onslaught." So let's talk about Solana. Okay, being one of the many coins that Sam Bankman-Fried supported, Solana has been hit heavily amidst the FTX collapse, dropping to about $15 a couple of days ago. Solana chain, and it had been up to had been over $100 a few months ago, and the chain hasn't changed, right? People are still building on it. Devs are still building on it. It's had its downtime, and I was in favor of that downtime earlier, because not because I don't want Solana to succeed, but because I didn't get in the opportunity early, like a selected few people did. And the retail needs a better way to be able to get involved early if they want to, not after the VCs already had their opportunity, after the club already had their opportunity. So the price is down right now, and as the chain hasn't changed. So you know because of the devastating things that have happened to FTX, that doesn't necessarily mean the value of Solana is trashed. Should be trashed. So I'm not going to recommend you as a buy. I don't do that. I'm qualified to do that, but I won't say that. So, but it still works. It's had its downtime early on. It's no longer having its downtime, as before noted, and it works, and people are building on it and developing on it. So I would say some encouraging wisdom to the Solana devs is keep building, man. You know, um, so let's talk. Let's do that. Let's keep building, moving forward, despite something that happened to one person. So let's go to the U.S. That was global news. We're going to talk about U.S. news, and it's U.S. news is the same. It's good. It's FTX. California regulators to investigate FTX crypto exchange collapse. Okay. The Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, DFPI, in the state of California announced that on November 10, it will open up an investigation as to the apparent failure of the cryptocurrency exchange FTX. California regulators said in an announcement that DFPI takes this oversight responsibility very seriously, and that the department expects all entities offering financial services in the state to comply with local financial laws. It also encouraged anyone in the state who has been affected by the events of the ongoing FTX saga to call a dedicated hotline. Okay, let's call a hotline, man. When I used to go to the clubs, I sometimes women, in my 20s, would hand me a phone number, and it was a hotline, and it was the rejection hotline, and they're like, "Congratulations, the person you met who gave you that number never wants to see you again." So that was something else. So now let's talk about U.S. senators. Luckily, I in my 30s I got married, so I didn't have to deal with that 20-year-old club thing anymore. But hey, it's a hotline. U.S. senators commit to advancing crypto bill despite FTX collapse. U.S. senators Debbie Stabenow and John Boozman have doubled down on their commitment to publishing a final version of the Digital Commodities Consumer Protection Act 2022, DCCPA, in the wake of FTX's shocking collapse. For a short time, the cryptocurrency community wasn't sure how the senators would respond to the FTX crisis, as the DCCPA bill is understood to have been strongly supported by Freed, right? But the members of the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry confirmed their intentions in the November 10 statement, stating events that have transpired this week reinforce clear need for greater federal oversight of the digital asset industry. Some words you want to never want to hear is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Never help. So, but they're going to pass this law, and whatever the law is, we're going to deal with it. Luckily, I wrote a book a couple years ago, Regeneration X, where I pick apart the Dodd-Frank and the coronavirus acts. And luckily, if this goes through, then we can see how we can pick apart this bill and how we can make it into another book. And oh, by the way, I just published my 13th book, The Zoology and Cheese of NFTs. It's on Kindle. Check it out. So let's talk about FTX contagion. Let's continue with the FTX contagion. Victim Deepak.eth puts their NFT collection up for sale. The founder of the Chain blockchain infrastructure company, who goes by internet pseudonym Deepak.eth, took to Twitter to announce the sale of the non-fungible token collection. Quote, "My NFT collection is now available. It will either be sold to the highest bidder or be placed in a fractional DAO, where I'll be selling 80% ownership for 8,000 ETH to the community. 8,000 ETH, about 8 million, a little over $8 million. DMs are open. Check them out, he says. So we do that. Let me know your thoughts. Hey, if you have thoughts, don't let me know them. Let Deepak.eth know them. Okay. FTX US resigns from the Crypto Council for Innovation. US-based exchange FTX US has left its position as the crypto advocacy group Crypto Council for Innovation, or CCI. In a statement to Cointelegraph on November 10, CCI CEO Sheila Warren. Wow, okay. So the council had accepted FTX US resignation as an associate member of that group. The firm's departure came amid crypto exchange FTX reporting liquidity issues or gallivanting issues, same thing, and leading to volatility across the market and concerns from global regulators and lawmakers. She says, "We remain committed to working toward building regulation that protects users and safeguards innovation in order to bring about real change. The news this week has been shocking, but we've also seen the community come together. We have a historic opportunity to get policies right." Okay. Good for you. Let me know your thoughts. Okay. Now, let's talk about this. FTX, we talked about the FTX lawmakers. We're going to talk about the Republicans. Okay. So, Republican lawmaker claims SEC chair was coordinating with the FTX to obtain regulatory monopoly. That I believe. Okay. Minnesota Representative Tom Emmer has not provided any evidence yet. They said Gary Gensler was helping SBF and FTX work on legal loopholes. Okay. Tom Emmer, the re-elected Republican lawmaker representing Minnesota's 6th district in the U.S. House, Minnesota's 6th district, has alleged Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler had been helping FTX SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, to gain a regulatory monopoly through the crypto firm. Hey, man, that's illegal, man. Let's see. In a November 10 tweet, Emmer criticized Gensler for running to the media amid FTX's liquidity issues causing ripples throughout the crypto market. According to the Republican lawmaker, his team was looking into the SEC chair's alleged collaboration with SBF and FTX, but only cited reports presented to his office as evidence without providing details. We need details. Here's one detail. Gensler was interviewed at CNBC at 8 p.m. on 10th at night. But CNBC's, main market is during the day when the stock market is open. So that guy's not even liked in the stock market. Put him in after hours. We don't like him in crypto. We don't like him in stocks. I mean, what are you doing there? Might be time to resign. Let me know your thoughts. So now, unclear regulations drove 95% of trading activity offshore, according to the Coinbase CEO. Brian Armstrong was not delighted with the news about the U.S. regulators looking into FTX along Coinbase and Binance in the wake of the FTX crisis. So look into the Coinbase, but you got to find a little. Armstrong said that the enforcement action against U.S.-based companies for the irregularities committed by an offshore crypto exchange that fell out of the jurisdictions of U.S. regulators makes no sense. He's right. Armstrong's comments came in response to Elizabeth Warren's call. Well, that's why it doesn't make sense. For aggressive enforcement in the wake of the FTX crisis. The Coinbase CEO blamed the SEC for the lack of regulatory clarity in the U.S., which he believes drove out 95% of the trading activity to offshore exchanges. When you have the club, when you have a small group of the club making the decisions, it doesn't represent the people. It doesn't represent, the community. It represents the will of the few. And that's why I'm in crypto and blockchain, because the will of the few shouldn't matter. So let me know your thoughts. Okay. Now, we're going to do one more thing in the U.S., and then we're going to go overseas. Judge rules library video platform token is a security in the case brought by the U.S. SEC. Library is a security. In a U.S. District Court ruled in favor of the SEC Commission on November 7 in its case against blockchain-based file sharing and payment network Library, LBRY. The court granted the SEC's request for a summary judgment filed on May 5. The SEC sued developer Library in March 2021 after the agency had brought similar charges against Ripple. So Ripple gets all the headlines, but, Library was sued too. According to the SEC, Library raised $11 million in, U.S. by selling securities without filing a registration statement, that it was an offering to the public. Okay. Library did not hold an initial coin offering, and the SEC did not allege fraud in the case. Now, ICOs at the time were considered kind of illegal by his predecessor Clayton, who did a lot of dancing, a lot more dancing than Gensler actually. But like I said, right now, I have a cold. I have a cold today, and I got to sneeze. Bullshit. 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 Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we need a competitor to Google. Library was going to be a competitor to YouTube and Google. And Google, if you put something on YouTube, Google owns it. So you don't have a second choice right now. We need a second choice right now. So my question is, why are you protecting the big wigs? Why are you protecting big tech? So, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. And I want to know your opinion. So let me know your thoughts. Okay. So Europe. Let's go to Europe because get out of the US. There's a lot of things happen here that let's look at Europe. MiCA proponent cites FTX in advocating for regulation. Crypto assets are not play money. Oh, that's nice. Okay. The European Parliament Economics Committee member Stefan Berger has compared the current situation with FTX, and they're going to see that word a lot, to the 2008 financial crisis, using such Lehman Brothers moments in justifying the need for regulating crypto. In a November 9 tweet, Berger said proper regulation was needed to avoid issues that cost enormous trust in crypto space amid FTX reporting financial difficulties. The parliamentary committee member pointed to the Markets and Crypto Assets, or MiCA, framework currently moving through the European Council as a way to require crypto firms to ensure internal risk management mechanisms. When you deal with blockchain, when you deal with decentralized exchanges, when you deal with decentralization, trust is built in. Where trust gets questioned and needs to be questioned is when centralized exchanges decide to have parties with other people's money. That is not decentralization. That is centralization. So let's move out of Europe. That's my message. And you might agree with me. And if you don't, you should. Let's go to Germany. Okay. Germany's financial regulator orders Coinbase to address business organization practices. So this is what Brian Armstrong was referring to. The Federal Financial Supervisory Authority of Germany, also known as BaFin, has issued an order related to the business organization of Coinbase's local arm in accordance with the country's banking laws. BaFin said it had issued the order to Coinbase Germany GmbH for violations of proper business organization under the German Banking Act. According to a copy of the legislation made available by the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the Coinbase's Germany arm should have suitable arrangements for managing, monitoring, and controlling risks and appropriate arrangements by means of which the institution's financial situation can be gauged with sufficient accuracy at all times. That's a run-on sentence. And provide certificates of audit related to appropriate reports on its annual accounts. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, they're entitled to their opinion. Let's go to Japan for a different opinion. Japan's financial regulator requests FTX Japan halt operations. Okay. So they asked them to start halting operations just like everywhere else. And that's the only news I have in Japan. I thought we were going to get something interesting. So let's go to U.S. Treasury redesignates tornado cash sanctions, citing North Korea nuclear weapons program. The U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Financial Asset Control, OFAC, has amended the sanctions on cryptocurrency mixer Tornado Cash, in addition to including 2 individuals involved in transportation and procurement activities for North Korea in this list of specifically designated nationals. In a November 8 announcement, the Department of Treasury said it had delisted and simultaneously redesignated Tornado Cash, in addition to taking into account activities conducted by North Korean nationals Ri Sok and Yan Ziyang, whatever. In its basics for sanctions, the government department reiterated its claims that the crypto mixer was involved in laundering $455 million in crypto stolen by North Korea affiliated Lazarus Group. Okay. So, Tornado Cash. Let me know your thoughts. All right. We have 2 places left to go. Just 2. Middle East. First one. Okay. Middle East, Asia, and Africa Blockchain Association launches in Abu Dhabi. Okay. The new blockchain and cryptocurrency focused association has been launched within Abu Dhabi's free economic zone that aims to further development of blockchain and crypto ecosystems across the Middle Eastern, North Africa, and Asian regions. The Middle East, Africa, and Asia Crypto and Blockchain Association, MEAACBA, was officially launched on November 8 in Abu Dhabi Global Market, ADGM, a free economic zone based in the center of the city, subject to its own set of civil and commercial laws. The zone was designated to further the growth of fintech companies in the United Arab Emirates. That's an idea. That's an idea to bring to the U.S. Create a zone. Create a zone in the middle of the country where there's not a lot of population, where people can move if they want to. And that'll be a free zone. And it'll be able to build and develop outside of the purview of the SEC. You know, with that concept, that idea in mind, let me know your thoughts. And then we will go to down under where the kangaroos live. Do not delay. ASIC warns Aussies to look for 10 signs of a crypto scam. Oh, this is going to be good. 10 signs of a crypto scam. Okay. Australia's market regulator has released a list of the top 10 ways to spot a crypto scam amid a detected rise in crypto-related investment scams this year. They said it was published, their Australian Securities and Investment Commission's ASIC public advisory statement was published as part of Scams Awareness Week 2022, an initiative that teaches Australians how to identify all forms of scams. The campaign took place November 7 to 11, which is today. Okay, so let's look for the top 10 reasons. Okay, I think number 1 is don't give your money to a 30-year-old sex orgy. Okay, number 2, let's see. No, that's not number 1. That's my number 1. So we have to go in there and we have to study the analysis. And the main driver of investment scams is there's a steep incline recently, but they don't tell you what those 10 things are. So we got to look at this a little further. It's a report. Check it out and let me know your thoughts. But that report was published and it's an amazing report. And I'm going to look at it more deeply. So, you know, so let's close it out. And I want to thank everybody. You know, it's been a long episode today. I want to thank you. It's a lot to cover. Hang in there, Solana guys. I'll see you next week.